What's up, y'all? All right. What's going on? I see you guys got the questions in the chat already. I appreciate that. Gerald Draymond, what's going on? Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, I got y'all today. Y'all are gonna like this one today. This one is this video is based on me walking in the gym and seeing somebody who's like, okay, I need to say something to that guy. I actually was kind of disgusted the other day. Like I walked into Crunch Fitness and let me not say disgusted. That's a stretch. Let me not say disgusted because I understand where Buddy was coming from. So I walked into the gym the other day. And like I'm scanning past, and there's this dude at the counter, trying to scan, and he's getting ready to come work out. Right. And you could tell this dude is fresh off the couch. He's fresh off the couch. Buddy comes in there, he got all his equipment on, he got his headband on, his new shoes, and like you could tell he's been mustering this up to say, okay, new year, new me. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what's he gonna say? So he's scanning in and he's talking to the dude at the front counter. And I don't know what the question was that he asked him because I came in a little bit after, but the original, like the response that I heard Buddy talking about was like, that I heard the trainer telling him was like, yeah, well, you got to work on metabolic X, Y, and Z and this and that. And he started giving him all these like scientific answers and stuff, about the curse. He started giving all these scientific answers. And I'm like, I feel bad for this dude because really, like you had a chance to help him. And I'm sure you just turned him away with all of that. You know what I mean? You got to be able to do this and that, this and that, and this and that. And I'm like, this dude's fresh off the couch. Like, that's overwhelming. I wouldn't want to walk in somewhere and they tell me, it's like taking your car into the shop. And you take your car to the shop and you're like, oh, I got to get, I came in here because I need to see what's going on with it. And Buddy comes out with a list of all this stuff. Well, your alternator is bad and you're going to need a timing belt change and you're going to need this and your transmission ain't kicking right. And this, you're like, whoa, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I came here to get my oil change. So I get it. And I think that kind of sparked me to want to make a video about this because I think, we all come from situations where we got to start over, like y'all know I moved here and I had to start fresh. I had a terrible injury, tore my bicep, took me off for a while, had to start over. Some of you guys got to, you got to get surgeries or maybe you just been out of the gym for a minute, for whatever reason that you had on your own personal reasons. And now you got to come back. Even a couple videos ago, you guys asked me about, you say you're trying to keep that man in the gym. Yeah, he's trying to make him a friend. He acting like it's Planet Fitness or something. If he wanted to come in there and chop it up, and get a pizza or something like that, he should have went to Planet Fitness. But I think the dude probably really wanted to do something, but, that's overwhelming though. Like that's overwhelming. You can't overwhelm somebody who's fresh off the couch. Like that's not fair to them. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't want to be overwhelmed like that too. And that dude he looked like he was ready to go. And I just, as soon as I heard Buddy say something about metabolic something, I was like, why would you do that to that man? Like, you don't know what that means. You gonna come in and just do cardio and it's gonna go in one ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully if that dude is watching this, watch my videos. If I see you again, I'm gonna tell you, hey, this is for you. But yeah, so when you just starting, let's get back. Oh, my bicep is good. I appreciate that. Bicep is good now. I still have a problem with the rotation of it. Y'all still see the scar and stuff. The scar is good, and the muscle seems to have come back, but like I can hear it crack. Like when I go like this, it's like because this is what your bicep does. It twists this way, so it's taking me some time to get it back in, but it's coming back together. At least I'm in the gym though. Not at the house. So all right, so let's get started. The first thing you should do, what I was gonna say is whatever experience you're coming from, you're coming from just being off of the couch, you're coming from just taking off, or maybe you had you went away for a while and you just was out of the gym for whatever reason. We all got to start back at some point. So I get it. And I don't want to make it seem like, you should just never fall off. Like, life is life and stuff happens. But when it's time to come back, there's some key things to remember because that may, help you continue on your path in a positive direction, or it could deter you to the point where you turn to one of those people who starts and stops all the time, from whatever reason, or maybe getting, overwhelming information at the front desk from your neighborhood gym associate. You know what I mean? So be careful with that. But today we're gonna get into it. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is, when you're first coming back into the gym, for whatever reason, this is called your acclimation phase. You got to get acclimated to being there in the first place. Like, you got to get comfortable with the scenery. You got to get comfortable with like the time you're going to get there all the time. You got to get comfortable with the cardio equipment that you're going to use. You got to go scout the machines and test them all out and see what feels right to you. The ones that you're probably going to use, the ones you know you're not ready for yet. Like, you got to get comfortable in the gym with the time of the day that, you know, maybe there's a bulk of people in there at a certain time of day and you don't want to work out at the time of day, you know, so that's overwhelming to you because that time of day is bad. So now you got to find a schedule that works good for everything so that you can be consistent. This is called your acclimation phase. And so when you're going through getting comfortable, just being in the gym, just starting to work out and feel like, okay, I did this and I did this again and again and again and again and again, and I'm making progress by doing this stage in your life is called acclimation. This is, you're getting used to this. I'm not saying you need to be making progress in your acclimation phase, like, but if you're going to do this on your own, you're not going to walk in there and get a trainer off the rip. Acclimation. So understand this is what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you're in this phase, keep in mind, we know the triple threat, the trifecta is diet, exercise, like lifting weights, cardio. Like, you need the three. You know what I'm saying? You need diet, exercise, cardio. But when you're just starting off, that can be very overwhelming. You know, like now we're talking about, well, how many calories do I need to burn? I need to put my Fitbit on. My Apple Watch says I need to be doing this. And listen, all of that right there, none of that matters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the trifecta, let's worry about the triangle first. You know what I'm saying? And within the triangle, you don't worry about doing all the things right. Now, if you're a dude who's been in the gym for a while, like, you need to be doing everything right. Like, stop playing. But if you're coming from scratch and you haven't been, you know, you've been off for a while, you know, and you haven't been consistent, I'm not telling you that you got to be on point with everything off the rip. Like, that's not fair. And so pick one. You can pick to do if you know, or pick two. If you know, for example, you're the type of person that, you know, your biggest thing that kept you or that got you out of shape was eating crazy. Okay, well, let's start off with let's manage your eating. That's the one. And then when you go back in the gym, don't worry about lifting weights all crazy. Let's just worry about getting you in there and getting comfortable. And so you can just do cardio. That's two. Stick to those two. Like, don't get overwhelmed with the gym and start trying to figure out which exercises are best for metabolic heart rate and all this stuff. Like, F all that. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my friend, don't blur me out. Bump all that, though. Like, you know, make sure you're just in there for, do those two things so that you can get comfortable and get in the environment of the gym where you feel comfortable coming back in there and doing more and more each time. But don't overwhelm yourself with trying to do all three from the gate. Like, you can fix your food stuff at the house. Like, you know, you eating crazy. Like, dog, stop eating crazy. Or, you know, man, like, cut it out. Like, do better. You know what you need to do to eat better. Like, you know, whatever you did that you ate that got you out of shape, stop eating that, and that'll get you back in shape. Easy. What else is there to talk about? You see what I'm saying? Like, nothing else to talk about on diet. You knew what you did that got you bad, and so do the opposite. That'll get you back in shape. That's the one thing. So do that at the house. But when you go into the gym, keep in mind, don't worry about, should I do cardio? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, that's a lot. Pick one, stay there for a little bit. You know, do your cardio. Anything where you're doing it for an extended period of time to where you're now sweating, okay, that's cardio. And do that maybe 25, 30 minutes, and you can leave. Like, don't get too into the I need to be lifting. But don't get too into the I'm gonna do just cardio for 3 months and then I'll start lifting. Like, no, like there's a time, but for that first month or so, you can just do cardio. And then that second month or maybe 3 weeks later, then you can start touching the weights and seeing what it is, and maybe start doing body weight exercises. But master the diet, start mastering the cardio, and then you can kind of lean into the weights. Or, you know, whatever your triangle is. You see what I'm saying? Pick the one of the two and then stay with that. That way you don't get too burnt out from the rip. Because I know that dude who walked into the gym, he got burnt out. Like, I seen that because I worked in gyms for so many years. Like, I know what somebody can say to somebody that's going to ruin that person. I know that I can tell you when somebody walks into the gym if I'm gonna never see them again. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that type of feeling because of you can read their energy. You know, like you can read somebody's energy on in their experience and see how overwhelmed they are with the whole scene. If they can't navigate it properly with a guide, they can get lost. And if you get lost, you ain't gonna want to go back. You know what I'm saying? You'll keep on stopping and starting over. So keep that in mind. All right, the next thing is injuries. Okay. Yes, injuries stop us from making a lot of progress. like I said before, I had to take off from my bicep injury. But in addition, keep this in mind too, right? So this is a personal thing. Remember, I told you I was on antibiotics because my prostate had an infection, right? So now the antibiotics had a side effect that says that you can tear your Achilles tendon if you're on the antibiotics. So I read the fine print. So that what that means to me is okay. So now I'm super prone for tearing my Achilles from some antibiotics. Now, granted, yeah, I feel better now because I'm off them and I'm back A1. But at the same time, it's like that stuff. The doctor said that stuff can stay in your system for a couple months, and so what that means is for now 2 more months, I still got to take it easy. So I can't go in there with the same sense of urgency on lifting as I did before. And a lot of you guys, maybe you've had injuries in the past, or maybe you can, in some other weird, strange reason, be more prone to injuries because your body hasn't been moving a lot. If you don't move it, you lose it, right? So if you haven't been moving around a lot and you haven't been doing things and you try to go back in there and just start, let's say you go back in and just start balling off the rip, you want to go play basketball in the gym, and you haven't done anything in a while. No, dog, you might tear MCL, ACL, PCL, TCL, like you're gonna tear it all by playing like that. And so you gotta build into that slowly and gradually build up to it. Not saying don't do it, but you can't go hard because your body's been sitting down, you're more brittle, you're more prone to injuries. And so you got to be careful with being that intense when you start back. And a lot of times when people want to come back, this is the thing to keep in mind. You're trying to remember how you were before. And because you remember how you used to be, you want to start off from where you left off. And you can't do that because when you try to pick up where you left off with that long gap of time that you had in your workouts, that's when you come back in there, you start tearing stuff up. And then once you start tearing stuff up, and it's not even a tear stuff up, it's like I got a little tweak in my shoulder. Like I remember for years I had a thing in my clavicle, like just right. It was something, I don't even know what it is. It was just I just needed to pop it. You know what I'm saying? Like going too hard. Came in there one day, 225. I benched 225 before. I knocked this out with y'all, like say nothing, light work. Next thing I'm like, you know what I mean? So, and that's happened to the best of us. I'm not saying you need to go for that, but that's one of those things. And when you have that takes you out for a while because then you got to worry about, okay, now I got to let this heal, and letting this heal takes away from you working out all this other stuff. Now you out of the gym for another 6 months because you came in there playing too soon, right? So just be careful with that. The third thing is be realistic about your goals and yourself. Like if you're the type of person who like you like to eat, don't go in there thinking that you got to do a whole complete 180 and turn around and be this whole different person. Like, nah, like just 90 degrees. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't gotta do it all the way, just halfway, like 90 degrees, and that's good enough to say right there. Because remember, you got to manage yourself. And this is something that you got to build as a sustainable, long period of time thing that you're going to do for a minute. And so if you're going to be getting back started again, don't overwhelm yourself with too much information and then go in there and don't know what to do. And so, be realistic about what it is that you're going to do. If on the weekends you like to go drink this and drink that, or you like to go eat here or whatever, remember, you can kind of manage it by saying, okay, well, I'll reward myself with that meal, but I'm not going to eat out crazy every single day. I'll have one crazy meal, 2 crazy meals a week, but I won't go ridiculous, during my regular weekdays. Or I'll eat crazy only on the days where I lifted heavy, and I'll eat light on the days where I lifted light or didn't work out. Make it make sense. You see what I'm saying? But don't just, like you gotta know that you're trying to manage something. You can't come in there and just try to, not adjust something or over adjust something, especially if you know how you are, because what'll happen is that's going to deter you and then you'll fall off. So don't overwhelm yourself too early and then fall off. So keep that in mind. Okay. And on top of that, as far as what your physical goals are too, I know a lot of times people come to the gym from scratch and they think that they got to go in there and turn into the Incredible Hulk because you've seen something on TikTok or some dude lifting crazy. So now you want to go in there and you think that this is what the new thing is. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you trying to do? I don't do none of those TikTok workouts. I see them and I'm like, look at this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing that stuff, Like, I'm not saying you can't do it because some of that stuff is great, but don't do it in a sequence where it's like, you're not prepared for that. Like, that's advanced and you coming in, trying to, come off the couch technically and do advanced exercises. Like, that's not right. So just be careful, okay? And be realistic, guys, because that's not going to help you get to your goal faster by doing those things. So yeah, it's like you can do something, but you know that by you coming off the couch, if you go into the gym and you say, okay, well, today I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna deadlift X, Y, and Z, like that's not gonna get you to your goal no faster. You know what I'm saying? Like you got other things to work about. You thinking about how much you can deadlift and how many reps you're gonna do on the bench and stuff. Like start somewhere else, you know. So just be careful. I talked about not picking up where you left off. Don't pick up where you left off again. You know, like make sure that you're starting back from scratch. Now, what I want to say about not picking up from where you left off, and this is something that myself and a lot of people included may not understand. Now, when you think about, I know all you guys have heard about people who write programs for people and they say, okay, well, you want to do a percentage of your max. You want to know what your max is and you want to do a percentage of that and then work on that. That's how you build strength. That's how powerlifters lift or whatever. Like they got those programs where they work on, a percentage and then they know what their max is, but they consistently do the percentage, right? So when you go back in the gym, keep this in mind as well. If you know that you use a certain amount, work on your percentage of that amount and stay around here for a while. Instead of still do the same exercises that you're familiar with, but don't go as hard as you were doing from the gate or from before, right? So make sure you scale it down. I would say maybe do 75% of what you used to be able to do. That makes sense. So it's like, you was benching. Let me get my calculator. I'm math be A1, but sometimes I'm about to play around just to make it make sense. Okay, so if you do 225 on the bench, right? 75% of, 75% of that is 168. So then you will be playing around with your 160s for a minute. So instead of playing with 225, play with the 160s. See what that feels like. Play with 150s, 145s or something. Like play with that and get used to that for a little bit and then build back up. You know what I mean? But do your percentage of what you were already familiar with. So you don't have to pick up a whole bunch of new exercises, but just do what you know, but don't do as much. And then build into getting back to what you used to do. That way you don't have to fall too far off from what you're familiar with, right? And then the last thing, and in that way you'll be able to actually be consistent as well, because consistency is what's going to keep you in there for a long time. And that's what we want. We're trying to make it so that you're not overwhelmed enough so that you can actually be consistent. That's the key to all of this. And then the last thing is you want to listen to your body as much as possible. Like you'll know when you go into the gym and you feel something that's not right, or if you're doing something that's like, okay, I worked out super hard today, I can't maintain this. Like listen to your body. Your body's telling you, okay, this is a little too much for me. And if it's too much for your body to take in and handle, then okay, scale back and just don't do as much. Or, don't take off, don't go back into hiding again. And maybe if you're one of these people who caught one of those ailments or tore something, or, you had a tear, listen to your body in the sense of, still go in the gym and work around that damage. So work around that area, work around that, that bad arm or that kink that you got in your shoulder or whatever the case is, work around it. Don't necessarily think that, you can't do anything. Do something, but just don't, like stay away from that side. Or if you got a bad hip, stay off of that hip for a second, but still do everything else. Like keep doing what you can do to the max, but stay away from that one section that is causing you issues, because you don't want to add any more to it. Okay. So I hope y'all learned something today. Let me look through these comments for a second. I tried to be short today, but it is what it is. All right. You said, Mr. Urban World, you can never do more than 10 to 15 minutes on the treadmill, but you did 31 minutes today. Listening to music helps you forget you were suffering. That's good. That's right. You got to do whatever it takes. If you got to listen to music, that's what it is. Learn healing. You said you're taking notes. Okay, good. Yeah, one step at a time. KC, what's going on? Jerry said you had to delete TikTok. Now I feel you, man. Like you got to be careful with that stuff. Anyway, all right. Well, I hope you guys learned something today. This was all information. Hopefully you was able to pick something like this up and use some of it towards your future progress or whatever. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I appreciate all you guys' questions. You keep me coming here every week, and I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.